You're getting divorced and you're a busy professional. How do you balance the challenges of your job, the demands of your schedule, and your divorce without losing it all? The reality is, you need to partner closely with your divorce attorney on information gathering. What pre-work can you do so that all of your documents are ready to go before there's a deadline? So when I have a busy professional as a client, I don't wait until the deadlines are approaching to say, hey, I need 5 years of tax returns, 5 years of bank records. I tell them the minute they engage me so that they can do their quote homework assignments on their pace as opposed to the judge's pace. I know what a court's going to ask for. Moreover, I know what the other attorney is going to be looking for from my client. So why don't we do our pre-work when my client has the capacity to do it, rather than doing it at the close of a quarter when they've got, board reports due or something of that nature, and they have no time. And I'm adding to their anxiety of managing work as well as managing their divorce. Likewise, I can do the look ahead. Do you have travel? Do you have any of these things going on? Big presentations. That's not the time to schedule, what could be like a heated first mediation session, right? So help your lawyer help you by gauging what's coming ahead. Do a 30, 60, 90-day forward-facing look to say what's happening in my professional life versus what's happening in the divorce world, and what is it I can manage. I schedule regular check-in calls with my client. So listen, I'm not going to pepper you with emails day by day by day, wink, wink. Some of that is like generating, consistent billing. I don't need to do that. I can gather things unless they're time sensitive, get to my client once. We have a robust conversation. I cover everything I need to do. They get their to-do list. I get mine, and we go our separate ways and we keep doing the things that we need to do. So your lawyer really can be a partner for you in this process and not disrupting your work life by peppering you with things that you don't necessarily need to do in the moment. Do I tell my employer I'm getting divorced? That's not a legal question, but on a personal level, would I tell my employer I'm getting divorced? Probably not. What value does it add in telling your boss or your human resources department that you're getting divorced? Tell them when the process is over, because you have some paperwork that you need to complete to generate the COBRA documents for your soon-to-be former spouse or your former spouse at that juncture. But there's really no reason from a legal perspective that your employer needs to know that you're going through a very personal time in your life. You're suddenly going to take days off. I'm sure at this point in your career, you know how to manage your time off, and you can do the look ahead 30, 60, 90 days and know when you have a court appearance or you need time for mediation. But I certainly wouldn't tell my employer at the onset that I'm going through a divorce. If you are the primary wage earner and you suddenly lose your job through no fault of your own during the course of your litigation, more often than not, your spouse is going to cry foul. Your spouse is going to say, you see, judge, you see, mediator, my spouse doesn't want to pay child support. My spouse doesn't want to pay alimony. And look, they went and got themselves fired just so they don't have to pay. You are obligated to dust yourself off and go start looking for another job. Now's not the time to sit home and sulk that you lost your job. Life happens, and life needs to continue onward. It's treated like a temporary situation. So even if you were paying interim support while the case is pending, you're suddenly not relieved of your financial obligation simply because you lost your job. Job loss is considered temporary, and you really need to get back out there and start looking for a job. And in fact, I tell my clients to document every time you post your resume, every interview you go on, the outcome of that interview, who you spoke to, what the follow-up is after that interview, so that you could demonstrate, if you needed to a judge, that you were earnestly looking for employment, and not just any employment, but you were actually looking for comparable employment to the job that you just lost. So it's temporary, dust yourself off, get back out there, and go look for that next job. If you are worried about the impact of your divorce on your career, strongly consider alternative dispute resolution. And by that I mean mediation or arbitration, probably starting in the mediation pathway. Why? Because you could control the timing. You could plan those mediation sessions around important work events or maybe work travel. While if you're in court, a judge is going to set the dates, a judge is going to tell you where to be and when to be there, and more often than not, they're not going to work this around important meetings at work and instead say this is when the court has time. So alternative dispute resolution is a fantastic way to keep control of both calendars in your life, both the calendar managing your divorce and the calendar you manage in your career. A busy professional getting divorced has some nuanced issues that you want to work on the onset of your case. These are questions I bring up in all of my consultations when I'm talking to a professional. Travel, work schedules, are there times of the month, times of the quarter that are particularly stressful at work? And then I try to lessen the load on my client during those time periods. So you want a lawyer that's going to work with you, that understands what your day-to-day life is like, so that you can manage both the divorce and your career at the same time effectively.